Petrus in any vintage is a highly collectible wine, and wine lovers around the world, especially those who are enamored with this voluptuous, generous style, really collects the vintage year after year because there, frankly, is no real bad vintage for Petrus. It is really in this particular part of the world, in Pomerol, where you see Merlot shine, and Petrus epitomizes the longevity, the depth, the power, and the intensity that Merlot as a variety can bring, because this, in fact, is 100% Merlot. Sometimes a little bit of Cabernet Franc for spices, but really not more than that. And the 1990 ripe vintage of Petrus brings power, energy, and great depth in a wine that probably will last another 50 years. This is a wine for all collectors, young, old, new, if you can afford it.
Over the past episodes, we discovered the history of Chilean wines, and we spoke to some of the most pioneering winemakers who are part of Chile's new wine renaissance. The wines from this beautiful country is quickly moving upmarket and challenging the wines of Bordeaux, Burgundy, and Rhone Valley. Can the best wines of Chile rival those of France? Come with me to discover in this episode whether they're capable of doing this. So many people believe in the future of Chilean wines. It's attracted international investors from around the world. One example is Chateau Mouton Rothschild that collaborated with Concha y Toro to produce Almaviva. I'm at Concha y Toro. Now, everyone who's familiar with Chilean wine will have heard of Concha y Toro because 1 out of 5 wines from Chile is actually made by Concha y Toro. They make 30 million cases, 20 million of which goes towards countries like Hong Kong and China and everywhere around the world, and 10 million cases, which is for their domestic market. They have small wineries within a large one. 2 examples is Don Melchor, which is one of the most iconic wineries of Chile, where from this area in Maipo, you get amazing Cabernet Sauvignon. And it's been a collectible since 1987. But then you also have a winery called Almaviva, a joint venture with the Rothschild family in Bordeaux. With Almaviva, Chile really came to the international stage and platform because it was so...
Almaviva is a fantastic vineyard wine. The Cabernet Sauvignon, Carmenere, Cabernet Franc, Merlot, Petit Verdot. So it's a Bordeaux view behind the wine. It's a Bordeaux when we make the blend. When you taste Don Melchor, you taste Cabernet Sauvignon. When you taste Almaviva, you can taste the assemblage. You can taste the different varieties, the different elements in the final wine. So when you taste Don Melchor, you can taste the Chilean history behind the wine, year after year. When you taste Almaviva,
Gilistasti, who's one of the family members still involved with Concha y Toro. So what are the main elements, do you think, to your success?
First of all, I think that as a country, Chile has been very focused on the export market. That's something that defines in some way the success of Chile in the export market, first of all. So we have been working very hard to try to achieve the quality standards of the export market. So
export-oriented.
Absolutely export-oriented. So that is that's why we started a long time ago looking for different markets to how to export and the quality of the wine and the packaging and everything and how can we build a brand. So we have been looking to the world instead of looking to the domestic market.
Okay.
That's a key issue.
Yes.
We started with a vision a long time ago because the wine industry is very fragmented. There's a lot of wineries, there's a lot of wines. So for the consumer, it's very difficult to choose which wine among many wines and many countries that produce. So, and in all the countries, for example, in China, there are wine from France, from Italy, from Spain, from Germany, from New Zealand, from Australia, from different countries. So for the consumer, it has been more difficult to understand which one would they elect for, which one to select.
Exactly.
So in that sense, I think that we have been working a lot in the concept of the brand, to building the brand. And one of the success of Concha y Toro, I think it has to do with the Casillero del Diablo brand. We have been very focused in building the brand, in trying to create like a worldwide brand.
Isabel, thank you for your time. It's been
Thank you,
a
Jeannie.
pleasure. Thank
It's
you.
a pleasure, and thank you for being here.
Thank you. This morning I spent 3 hours tasting 48 Carmeneres. Now, why would I subject myself to doing this? Because it's been several years since I tasted a whole range of Carmenere, and as the flagship variety for Chile, I wanted to see how it was performing. About 5 years ago, when I did a similar kind of exercise, I found that actually there were a lot of green Carmeneres, and I was a little bit concerned about the fact that the country of Chile was promoting a variety that not everybody could do well. So this time, after tasting all these wines, I found these 8 that were some of my favorites. And there is a very clear conclusion about the progress of Carmenere. It seems as though the winemakers now know where to plant. They know what it takes to achieve ripeness. Flavors are always going to be full. It's going to be deeply colored, like this very deep purple, red, ruby colored style that is the hallmark of Carmenere. And you're going to always have very, very strong, firm tannins. Unlike Cabernet Sauvignon, which could have more juicy blackberry fruit, Carmenere is going to be always a little bit more savory, more herbal, more spicy. And when it's done well, as it is here, you can see that it will bring a very interesting characteristic and something new that's very different from Merlot or Cabernet Sauvignon. So what I find now with Carmenere in Chile is that they are definitely progressing. There is a definite evolution. And the best wines are coming from regions all over, actually, not just one. The most well-known is, of course, Colchagua, but you also have Cochapal, Maule. You have regions that are even in Aconcagua that's making very good Carmenere. It really depends on the devotion and the care by the winemaker and making sure that they've planted this Carmenere variety in the right place where it requires long, ripe, slow conditions to make sure that the tannins, which can be green and harsh, are softened and round and bring this savory, spicy element to this full-bodied red variety that is unique to Chile. Because as you know, in Bordeaux, the variety has not really been planted after phylloxera, so it's a variety that really thrives in Chile, and it is the flagship variety for this country, and it's doing better and better, but I think it will take a few more years, maybe another 10 years really, to make this variety as competitive as Cabernet Sauvignon. This is my third time in Chile, and it's been about 4 years since the last time I was in this country. And the one thing that I noticed is how dynamic and how diverse the whole country has become. So not only is it really about Cabernet Sauvignon and its flagship variety, Carmenere, but you've got exciting grape varieties from Carignan in Maule to Semillon from 50, 60, 70-year-old vines. Crisp Sauvignon Blanc is doing very well into coastal climates, and the whole diversity of the region is really coming to the fore. And from that, you also have more challenges, because Chile's had this problem with its image. As a country, it really hasn't forged a very strong image of what kind of country it is for producing quality wine. So with this new diversity, it can also become not just fascinating, but very confusing for consumers. But with it all, the Chileans are working hard, persevering, and historically, because this country has been so hard and so isolated, it's still a country that learns and constantly improves and pushes hard to become the best that it can be. And so now you have a new renaissance in Chile. So with wine, they're doing exactly the same thing, pushing the envelope and trying their best, spreading and foraging and continuously improving. And you'll be able to find some exciting Carignan from Maule, some very wonderful Sauvignon from Casablanca or Lleida, amazing Chardonnays that may have you thinking about Burgundy, even Pinot Noirs that are becoming better and better. So this is a country to discover.